The creatures had come together, united in a cause greater than themselves, with the lessons of the ant, the lion, the eagle, the elephant, the wolf, the cheetah, the snake, and the owl etched into their hearts. They had laid the foundation for a new world, a world of fairness, unity, and justice. But as with all great journeys, the road ahead was not without its perils. The forces that had ruled over the land for so long were not easily defeated. And now, with the creatures united in purpose, the old rulers were beginning to stir, growing restless at the idea of losing control.
You think you can change the world? You are nothing. You cannot defeat me. I am the one who keeps things in order. I am the one who decides who thrives and who suffers.
One evening, as the creatures gathered beneath the stars, a great rumbling shook the land. The Hydra, a monstrous creature with many heads, rose from the earth. Each head of the Hydra represented a different force of oppression: greed, hatred, fear, inequality, corruption, division, and others that had kept the creatures divided for generations. The Hydra was fierce and unyielding, each head hissing and spitting venom. The creatures shuddered, knowing the Hydra was no simple foe. Its heads were many, and every time one was struck down, two more would grow in its place. But they were not afraid. They had learned too much, traveled too far, and grown too strong.
We have learned from the past, and we will not fall for the same tricks again. This Hydra thrives on division, it feeds on fear, but we will stand together, united in purpose, and we will defeat it not one by one, but as a single force.
The wolf called for the pack, and one by one the creatures gathered in unity. The ant began to march, slow but steady, gathering the strength of the collective. The lion roared, its voice shaking the earth, calling out to those who had forgotten the power of courage. The cheetah moved swiftly, scouting the terrain and finding the weak points. The eagle soared above, looking for the right moment to strike. The snake slithered into the shadows, unseen but always ready to change and adapt. They knew the Hydra would not fall easily, but they also knew that the Hydra's heads were not invincible. If they could destroy the roots that fed it, the Hydra would wither. The creatures fought fiercely, each using their unique strengths to strike at the Hydra.
The lion lunged at one head, its mighty paws swiping through the air.
The wolf circled, confusing the Hydra, attacking from all sides. The cheetah darted in and out, landing swift blows with precision. But for every head that was struck down, two more grew back. The creatures were growing weary. They needed a new approach, something the Hydra could not anticipate, and that's when the owl spoke.
We cannot defeat it by force alone. We must reach the heart of the Hydra, its source of power.
The owl's wisdom echoed through the group. The creatures paused, and for a moment everything fell silent. The snake, ever adaptable, shifted its form.
The Hydra feeds on division, but if we unite, we will cut off its supply.
And so the creatures began to form a circle, drawing closer and closer until they were no longer separate, no longer individuals. They were a single force, a unity so strong that the Hydra began to falter. The heads that once threatened them now seemed weak, struggling to breathe under the weight of their combined effort. The creatures, now united, moved in perfect harmony. The ant began to dig deep into the earth, cutting off the Hydra's roots. The eagle soared above, guiding their movements and ensuring they remained on course. The lion played its part. The elephant played its part. The cheetah played its part. The wolf played its part. The snake played its part. The owl played its part. They were all working together with one goal in mind: to sever the Hydra's power and bring about transformation. And finally, after a long and difficult struggle, the Hydra began to shrink. Its heads no longer multiplied, its strength diminished. The creatures had done it. Together they had struck at the root of the problem, and the Hydra fell. With the Hydra defeated, the creatures stood together, looking out at the land. The sky was clear, the air fresh. The sun rose high, casting a golden light over the land, a symbol of the new beginning that lay ahead. But they knew that this was not the end. The battle had been won, but the work of rebuilding had only just begun. The Hydra may have been defeated, but there were still many forces to overcome. The creatures would need to stay vigilant, to continue working together, to ensure that the land remained just and fair for all. The ant turned to the others.
We must build a new world, one where every creature, no matter their size or strength, has a place. We must remember the lessons we've learned and never forget the power of unity.
And so, the creatures set out to rebuild not by force but by creating something new, something that would stand the test of time. They created communities based on fairness, equality, and respect. They nurtured the land, helped it grow, and ensured that all creatures had what they needed to thrive. The creatures of the land had done what seemed impossible. They had faced the forces of oppression and emerged victorious. But their greatest victory was not in defeating the Hydra, it was in discovering the power of unity, of standing together and working as one. Their story was passed down through the ages, whispered in the winds, carried by the rivers, and etched into the very fabric of the land. It was a story of hope, resilience, and the unbreakable bond that exists when creatures come together for a common cause. And now, as the storyteller, I pass it to you, dear listener. The journey is yours. Will you stand together with others to build a just world? Will you join the United Justice Movement? The path is open, the journey continues. The end. Or is it?